You're not going to believe the updates we got in here. One of the major bottlenecks that I've had with my Shadows of the Empire fan film has been PC components. I have a decent graphics card and a decent CPU, but there's been lots of little things here that I've needed to improve over time. I've already improved my RAM and my internal storage, and in this video we're going to be upgrading a lot of things and proofing this PC against Murphy's Law. The biggest update here is going to be this graphics card. First and foremost, I'll be replacing this terrible little USB Wi-Fi stick with Ethernet. If we jump to my living room, we can see my router, and I'm running a cable from there all the way into my office. You can see with this distance behind a door and with my PC in the floor as far away from my door as possible, I'm getting bad Wi-Fi, but now that I have Ethernet, I can upload, download, and do other internet things faster. I also got this pretty cool strip just to cover up the Ethernet cable just to make my hallway look a little nicer. Next up is the monitor. I got a brand new monitor for Christmas, haven't even opened it out of the box yet. Currently what I'm using is an old TV that I have to turn on with an old style TV remote. This is over 10 years old and I think it is time for an upgrade. Not much of a size upgrade, but it's going to be the dynamic range, the resolution, and the color bit depth that I think is going to make the biggest difference. Bye bye Java. Useless. I don't know if you all can see what I'm seeing, but it looks a lot better. The detail's a lot sharper, the colors come out a lot better. Overall, much better monitor. An uninterruptible power supply goes in between your PC's power supply and your wall outlet. It's essentially a big battery with a lot of Edison outlets on it, and if, for instance, your power goes out while you're in the middle of a big data backup, instead of your PC turning off, this will catch it, this will keep it powered on for as long as the battery lasts. I didn't have one of these over the summer whenever my power shut off during a big data transfer, and that wound up in a lot of data loss. Chunky boy. Now let's get this in between the PC and the computer, and we'll just go ahead and plug in the UPS here and plug the PC's power supply in, and boom, the PC is now connected to the UPS. These were all gifts, however, future upgrades like a GPU, which is now on the way, are supported by our patrons. Your support helps to invest in new hardware, new software, 3D models, and to help pay for other expenses involved in producing such a large project, such as the Shadows of the Empire fan film that this channel is currently working on. You can also check out our shirts like this Dash Rendar Man with a Blaster About to Cook You shirt, available in our merch store now. Jumping back in a couple weeks later, and I now have my new graphics card. One of the things I really want to do with this project is render it in Unreal Engine. Blender's been very helpful, great at previewing models, working on models, textures, all of those things, maybe even rendering some shots that might look a little bit better in Blender as opposed to Unreal Engine. But my major bottleneck with Unreal has been my VRAM. My current GPU only has 4 GB of VRAM, which will crash Unreal almost every time you try to do something substantial at all. Even basic starter blueprints creep up to that 4 GB VRAM threshold, and it's just not sustainable. Benchmarking my current graphics card here in Blender using the set of Jabba's Palace, rendering at a resolution of 1920 by 1080 with 4096 samples, you can see that this one frame takes 18 minutes to render. This is way too long. And jumping over to Unreal Engine 5, I've got the Echo starter blueprint pulled up here. You can see that even with only one character on screen and nothing but basic mesh, Unreal keeps hitting me with the warning that video memory is exhausted, and when I play around with moving the character and camera, the frame rate plummets to around 16 frames per second and has visible lag. And naturally, Unreal crashed before I even finished benchmarking the scene. And when using the MetaHuman starter project file, I run into a similar issue. The frame rate consistently stays under 20 with visible lag and crashes before completing the loop, not exactly performing at the level I needed to render a Star Wars fan film. My new GPU here in this box is going to have 16 GB of VRAM. let's go ahead and open up the box. Alright, so here is our new graphics card. This is the Asus model of the NVIDIA 4060 Ti 16GB version. The reason I went with this graphics card primarily is for the VRAM, and its 16GB of VRAM is going to be a major benefit for running softwares like Blender and Unreal, so that I can have more vertices, higher resolution textures in my scene. Honestly, I don't really care as much how long it takes to render things. I just want to be able to render things without the computer crashing on me, which is the bottleneck that I've been running into, specifically with metahumans and some of the other assets that Unreal has to provide. But with 16GB of GDDR6 video memory and 32GB of regular memory on my PC, I now have plenty of memory to be able to handle the kind of scenes that I want to render in here. So I think this card is going to do me wonders when it comes to working on the Shadows of the Empire fan film, and specifically migrating a lot of these models and project files into Unreal. That way I can both render the project faster than I could in Blender and probably with a little bit better quality. Alright, let's put this bad boy in there. Now that the new card is in, going back into Blender will run the same benchmark with the same resolution and samples, and it finishes in 4 minutes and 17 seconds. That is over 4 times as fast as the previous graphics card. Jumping back into the Echo Starter blueprint, we are staying consistently above 100 frames per second, which is over 5 times the FPS as before, and with no memory exhaustion warnings and no crashes. And in the MetaHuman Starter project file, the frame rate is over triple what the previous card could do, staying consistently over 60 FPS, and made it all the way to the end of the loop with no crashes. Overall, this new card is a massive improvement, benchmarking at 3, 4, and even 5 times better than the previous card, with no crashes, and will allow me to use the pipeline and workflow that will yield the highest quality renders in a reasonable amount of time. And if you're not already, please subscribe and turn on bell notifications so you don't miss any videos or updates. Please like the video and comment below your PC specs. Thank you all for watching, and may the force be with you.